The Seven of Spades is the faith card. It is one of the most spiritual cards in the entire deck. Why? Because the spade suit represents spirituality and the number 7 represents spirituality. So here we find people that hold an immense amount of power if only they become aware of it or are aware of it and can handle it responsibly. Because here is a card that is able to turn within. Like other sevens, but here the 7 is in the spade suit. We're talking about lifestyle, we're talking about work, we're talking about health, we're talking about all the spiritual things. And if you look at the planetary sequence of the 7 of Spades, you see what I mean. But let's have a look what the notes say, and let's deal with each of those planets and those cards one by one. Those born of the 7 of Spades carry a deeply spiritual frequency, one that speaks of inner work, quiet strength, and the kind of wisdom that doesn't shout but simply knows. There's often an air of mystery around this card, as if it's aware of something others overlook. The energy of the 7 of Spades isn't here for applause or performance. It's here for alignment, clarity, and transformation from within. So when we look at the planetary influences shaping this card's journey, we discover the tools, the allies, and challenges that help sculpt this quietly powerful life path. Sevens are not flashy cards. Sevens are not cards that are overly expressive, and the 7 of Spades is probably one of the most undemonstrative cards in the entire deck. But where they're really good at is working behind the scenes. They are reliable. They are dependable. They have a King of Diamonds as a first karma card, and they have an 8 of Hearts as a second karma card. So they are tasked to take on responsibility when it comes to values, not just money, but values. But that King of Diamonds, when realized, gives them tremendous power in the values realm. And we'll find that there's an interesting card here under Saturn, which is the 4 of Diamonds. So there's 4 of Diamonds, stability and satisfaction in values, and that is being supported in a way on the conscious side, once they become conscious of it, by that King of Diamonds. And then they have emotional power because of the 8 of Hearts as second karma card. But the 8 of Hearts also says, don't be too overpowering in your relationships. Don't be too fixed in your ideas. Become cognizant and conscious of the higher side of that 8 of Hearts. And that's charm. That's a lightheartedness. That's power. There's persuasion or persuasiveness. But on the low side, it can just come on way too strongly, and that can damage the relationships that the 7 of Spades has. Mercury. We find a 2 of Clubs. That's the Psychologist card. So it's an interesting card because we've got a card of the club suit that is aimed at a union in communication, and it's in Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect. We find an energy that thrives on meaningful dialogue, idea exchange, and mental companionship. This gives the 7 of Spades a keen intellect and a natural gift for communicating spiritual or complex concepts in a relatable way. There's an inner drive to talk things through, to make sense of life's paradoxes through shared insight. But with the solitary nature of the 7 of Spades, this can also create tension, the desire to go within versus the need to speak and be understood. Because we've got 2 opposing energies. The one is going within, but the 2 of Clubs says, and especially under Mercury, says, go without. Find someone that you can communicate with someone that you can relate with on an intellectual level. Because of the depth that the Seven of Spades holds, it's obviously important for them to communicate clearly and to be understood about or for the really spiritual depth that they carry inside. Two of Clubs in Mercury, an inner drive to talk things through, to make sense of life's paradoxes through shared insight. And then this is being elevated because under Venus, we find another Clubs card and we find the King of Clubs. And remember, the King of Clubs is the Mercury card for the Two of Clubs. So there's a very strong mind here. Venus sits strong with the King of Clubs, a master of thought, a leader in the world of ideas. This is a powerful placement that blesses the Seven of Spades with deep mental authority in relationships. It's a signature of someone who can guide others with clarity and compassion, but also a reminder that love isn't about controlling the conversation. The challenge here is to let wisdom serve love, not dominate it. And with a king in the space of relationships, there's always a risk of domination. There's always a risk of abusing the power. So here's a call for that Seven of Spades to step back. You've got the authority. You know what is right, but you don't have to push that too hard, especially with that King of Diamonds first karma card and Eight of Hearts second karma card, because they play in here, because there's another king influence, and with that, the King of Hearts in front of your nose, and with the Eight of Hearts, King of Diamonds in front of your nose, and the Eight of Hearts behind you, which gives you emotional power. But it mustn't be abused, because otherwise that backfires for the Seven of Spades. And it never really finds fulfillment in the relationship because it's never really there. Because it's almost like mired in jealousy and power struggles, and it's unable to really surrender to the relationship. Sort of to arrive in that space, open, willing, able to receive, because with that king energy, kings, they are the generators, but they're not necessarily the people or the people who are able to receive, to take. And in the relationship, obviously, it's necessary that it's a give and take. But if you're not, I can't find the right words at the moment, but if you can't really, if you're not prepared for the warmth and the emotional exchange in a relationship, then obviously the other person will find him or herself frustrated or disappointed. But then it helps, as always, it helps for a potential partner of the Seven of Spades to actually understand the Seven of Spades. That sort of they're more geared at admiration and respect, and they won't show it overtly, because other people are far more demonstrative than the Seven of Spades when it comes to relationships. And the Seven of Spades, in a way, needs to learn that, because by default, by sort of the energies or the energetic fingerprint or footprint rather, they are not people who are like jumping at your neck and hugging and all that. So there's a distance, there's spiritual, there's almost like a regal energy, and that's understandable because of the two kings, King of Diamonds first karma card, and that King of Clubs in Venus. Moving on, we move to the Mars position, and we'll find the Jack of Diamonds. Clever, persuasive, and full of entrepreneurial energy. It's a salesperson's card in Mars, which is quite nice because it gives that Seven of Spades quite a commercial edge. They need to be aware of it, that they have great ideas when it comes to commerce, when it comes to values. They actually still quite funny, actually, these people, because of that Jack energy. It's quite nice. But for the Seven of Spades, it adds a mischievous spark, a creative ambition that wants to shake things up. It may even clash with the more inward-facing nature of the birth card, creating a tension between soulful reflection, Seven of Spades, and worldly hustle, Jack of Diamonds. But when these energies are harmonized, this person becomes a trailblazer, one who walks the spiritual path with diamond-cut brilliance. And remember, Jack of Diamonds has a Jack of Clubs second karma card. So it gets genius, mental genius support in its commercial endeavors. In Jupiter, we are doing a lane change. So we are exiting the Uranus line, and now we are finding ourselves on the Neptune line, and we find the Four of Hearts. And that means that the expansion for the Seven of Spades comes through stable relationships, to a stable home. Maybe it hasn't had it. Not one that it could rely on early in life, because that's the Seven of Spades in its evolutionary path still suffers from that Six of Spades with those fateful events. That it has brought those over into the Seven of Spades life now. And that means it needs to develop faith in itself, faith in other people, faith in life in general, because otherwise you do not trust anyone. And if you do not trust anyone, you will never create relationships deep enough, reliable, dependable, and committed enough in order to use that constellation, Four of Hearts, as a base for growth and expansion under Jupiter. I think that makes perfect sense. A card of emotional stability, home and inner trust. There's a beautiful influence anchoring the Seven of Spades with a deep longing for peace, connection, and soulful relationships. There's a quiet wisdom here that makes this person a haven for others, someone who people turn to when life gets shaky. It's also called to build emotional foundations that are as spiritually sound as they are loving. Nice combination between the Seven of Spades, or of the Seven of Spades, and the Four of Hearts. Spiritually sound, Seven of Spades; loving, Four of Hearts. These people have knowledge, they have insight, they have gone through life, and they've been tested in life. Sevens are cards of losses. And here it's like spiritual loss. Almost you lose faith in life and early on. And, they need to basically get back on their feet. And they develop a resilience and a strength, which is quite remarkable. On the other hand, when it comes to relationships, not always useful if that strength is too strong and creates like a wall around that Seven of Spades. They're not really approachable in relationships, and approachable is probably the wrong word. They are not offering the partner in a relationship which a partner not expects from them, but would like to see from them in order to create a harmonious relationship where that Seven of Spades is actually in the relationship. It's not just there mentally, also in a supportive way, but it's also there like, I know that I'm going out with this person, I'm relating to this person, and I know that I feel that I've arrived in that relationship. That's a nice expression. So and that is obviously reciprocal. So that Seven of Spades, because of that energy, may never really arrive in a relationship. They have to do work there. And that means with all the pain that they have experienced, with all the losses, that they can still surrender, that they can still sort of lie down and say, okay, I don't care. I trust you fully. In Saturn, we find the Four of Diamonds, which is lovely because that's the teacher in a way, but Saturn likes even cards, and the Four of Diamonds brings structure to the material world, but obviously not without tests. It demands that the Seven of Spades be honest and ethical in financial matters, disciplined in work, and clear about values. And if they are, they can make a lot of money. Remember, King of Diamonds, first karma card. If they develop awareness around the power that they wield and the responsibility that they can hold, that Four of Diamonds in Saturn certainly supports them in that endeavor. Clear about values, discipline in work, and honest and ethical in financial matters. So remember what I said earlier on. The Seven of Spades works behind the scenes. They are not people that for the stage. Although they can be rather creative, but when it comes to work, they are very reliable and dependable workhorses. They work behind the scenes and they make things work. And with that King of Diamonds, first karma card, and that Four of Diamonds in Saturn, they can be relied upon when it comes to financial matters, which is a really good or great quality to have in your organization. It's not about hoarding wealth, but stewarding it wisely. The challenge here is to turn spiritual awareness into tangible action to make sure that the outer reflects the inner. And once again, they need to know that, because otherwise that potential goes to waste. In Uranus, we find another 2, and it's another black 2, and it's the 2 of Spades, partnership in its most unconventional or karmic form. And for that 7 of Spades, this can mean sudden or fated collaborations that challenge one's independence, because the 7 wants to be independent, but it needs to understand that independence is an illusion. You always advance further and faster with another or with others, because other people fill in your gaps, you fill in other people's gaps, and together you thrive. Because you have certain shortcomings in your system, in your setup, and that you actually not really interested in filling, but that's what other people are there for. That they complement you. That's the word. It also reflects a deep yearning for a spiritual partner, someone to share the inner journey with without losing oneself in the process. The lesson here is true freedom, and that true freedom is found in mutual commitment to growth. Did I use the word commitment earlier on when I was talking about relationships? 2 of Spades and Uranus. The freedom is found in mutual commitment to growth. I am committed to this relationship. I am in it hook, line, and sinker with all my heart, quite literally with all my heart. And with that King of Diamonds first karma card, 7 of Spades can be very materialistic and think like, I need to make money, I need to make money, I need to make money. Yes, you can make money and you will make money, but you will not make it on your own. You will make it with someone, with other people. So hook up with other people and that you can trust, and where you can where each one complements the other, and where together you create a system that is almost impossible to beat. But that's something that the 7 of Spades needs to become aware of. Neptune, we find the 8 of Hearts, which is its second karma card. Remember, it gets support from that. And here we enter the realm of emotional magnetism and quiet power. This is the energy of someone who can heal with their presence, attract with their vibe, and influence through subtle grace. But it also carries the risk of emotional control, always with the 8 of Hearts, of manipulating through love instead of embodying it. That's a risk, really, and I've experienced that because our relationship lasted like 4.5 years. And that 7 of Spades was not yet aware of that. Interestingly, this is how my cards journey in a way started. Not when I first encountered the system of Cardology, but when it really kickstarted in 2018. And she helped me a great deal to make that happen. So my gratitude certainly goes out to Marie for all her support in that. But at the time, we didn't know the cards. We didn't know how to interpret them properly. And obviously, she didn't know about that 8 of Hearts second karma card, and certainly not about the 8 of Hearts in Neptune. So there was always, and she was fairly young. So there was not that emotional maturity that is required in order to handle that 8 of Heart responsibly. Manipulating through love instead of embodying it. The invitation here is to surrender to love as a force of transformation and not possession. Beautiful ending sentence. And that brings us to Pluto. And that's a 6 of Clubs. And 6 of Clubs is a very intuitive card, also a very powerful card. A spiritual mission built on responsibility, service, and the quiet mastery of truth. It's a heavy but noble influence for the 7 of Spades, calling them to walk the talk, to live what they know. It's not enough to believe, 7 of Spades. You must become the message. This placement speaks to a destiny that isn't about fame, stage personality, but about integrity. And that is the reliable, dependable working behind the scenes. And we remember Saturn 4 of Diamonds, Jupiter 4 of Hearts. So she needs to find that the group that she's comfortable in, and then bring in all that value, stroke money, financial weight that she carries, and then she can fulfill, or he, or she, in this case it was a woman obviously, he or she can fulfill that role rather beautifully. Seven of Spades is not an easy card if you are unconscious of it, but when you become conscious, you can fill the gaps fairly easily, and then that tremendous financial potential opens up in front of you. So the Seven of Spades path is rarely loud, but it's always deep. With this particular lineup of planetary cards, we see a life that dances between spirit and mind, solitude and connection, wisdom and action. The soul's mission here is not to just awaken, but to integrate, bridging the gap between the inner world and the outer life. If you carry this card, know that your quiet journey may be one of the most important stories ever told, even if only a few truly understand it. With such tremendous spiritual power that the Seven of Spades holds, and the challenging life that it has encountered, especially early in life, it's not a card that many people understand, and it's also not a card that many people can handle. So here, also on the partner's side of the Seven of Spades, you need to be cognizant of those qualities. And this is exactly why we have Cardology, to understand how people tick, what brought them to where they are right now, their life, and especially early life experiences, their family relationships, etc., everything that needs to be factored in. And then with that understanding comes acceptance, comes harmony, and comes love. And that's something that the Seven of Spades certainly deserves and also has, but it needs to become cognizant of that, especially with the Eight of Hearts second karma card and with the Four of Hearts in Jupiter. Birthdays are shown on the screen for the Seven of Spades, not that many. And if you like this video, you know what to do. Like it, share it, speak to other people about it, especially other Seven of Spades natives. And I'll see you in the next video. And in the sequence, that will be the Eight of Spades. Helmar Rudolph once again says thank you for your attention and remains with peace and blessings. Bye-bye.